Are you ready for the Instigators hockey show? That's Chris Kotsopoulos over there. I'm Paulie D. Get ready for the insanity we call the Instigators hockey show. Barry's here. Beth
Barry?
will not be joining us tonight, from what I understand. Not feeling well, a little bit under the weather, so we wish her well. But I think Kotzi and I can handle this. Got a lot to talk about. A lot of things people aren't going to like to hear. Maybe not. We'll see.
Paulie, get ready. Paulie's going to go off tonight.
It's been about 2 weeks, so I got a lot of work to do here, boys and girls. Throw the glasses on so I can read some stuff from here to there. I just want to say fuck Big Shitty, and I still don't know how anybody who's ever been or ever wore a Ranger uniform can sit in the same room as that turd bucket. But I always got to squeeze that one out. Squeeze it out like a turd.
What was that again? Turd bucket?
I
like that one.
Turd bucket.
There you go.
Got a lot to talk about, and a lot of it is going to be focused around the trades that happened last Friday, and obviously we'll talk about our beloved New York Rangers.
Oh,
and we'll just take it from there.
What'd you call them?
The Euro New York Rangers.
Wow.
I don't want to go there yet. I don't want to get too fired up just yet. But let me tell you, the igniters are on, and I am ready to explode tonight. Is there anything besides talking about trades that you want to bring up? I know big news today. Ryan O'Reilly broke his finger.
Yeah.
Bad news for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I wanted him as a New York Ranger fan. I can tell you that, man. I know you know that. I talked about it months and months and months ago. But, that's bad news for the Leafs. They did have a couple of really big other acquisitions, though, in the trade deadline. Didn't they get Luke Shin?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. They picked up another play I can't think of. What's his name?
Gustafson from Washington.
Yeah. So they went out and made a big splash. But I know I digressed. Was there anything else aside from the trades and other things like that you wanted to talk about? Was there any highlights or former player things or anything like that?
No, I looked it up today. That is a bad news for the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. They got him with the idea that him being a little bit of an all-around player, helping out, the kind of softer guys up front. But he'll be back for the playoffs. I mean, I don't think they're going to be too concerned about it. They're far enough up there in the standings that they don't have to worry about whether they're going to, lose their standing where they are. But it's unfortunate, but that's hockey. Things like that happen, man. And no, Barry, I'm not moving this. We are redecorating the inside here. We had shelves put in, so I had to move all kinds of crap around, and eventually I'll get around to sorting this shit out. Yeah, they picked up. Remember, they also got that Noel Akari too in that trade with O'Reilly. Getting Luke Shen, I think, was a pretty good move. I don't think it was like a 10 out of 10 move, but a good move for them because they're a little soft on the back end, the Leafs. A little soft, and I'm not sure if Luke will play every game, but he'll probably be inserted in the lineup when needed.
Yeah. Well, they're a lot tougher than other teams.
Oh yeah. Well, when you got a guy like O'Reilly who's a grinder, you got a guy like Luke Shen in the back line, and I'm still not sure what some of the other guys that they've had there, like Simmons. Is he still part of the team? Is he down in the minors? Blah blah blah. That's the missing ingredient with that team over the last 3-4 years. It's like you and I debated over the years. Tampa won absolute shit, Paulie, until they got some grinders on that team, and that's the Leafs situation too. The last 4 years, so they have to add something.
Well, A lot of players got moved.
Yeah,
Um,
quite a few.
yeah.
The East loaded up, Paulie. The East loaded up, and they didn't load up with super skilled players either. They loaded up with grinding, tough, big, beefy players. Is what they did. I mean, where do you want to start? You want to start with Boston? Did they really
Well,
need? Did they really? Did they really need a Bertuzzi? Did they really need an Orlov? Did they really need a Hathaway? You know what I mean? But
wow. Wow.
what does
Let's
that
start
tell you?
there.
What does that tell you?
Let's start there with Tyler Bertuzzi. I mean, I had read articles about him probably not being moved by Detroit, so I didn't say anything, and I was kind of like on the fence. But obviously, if I would have known, if Chris Drury knew that guy was coming available for the right price, and I don't think Boston gave up a ton for him.
Well, he is gonna be a free agent. Okay, so there's gonna be the old free agency bullshit with the contract. Where I think he's free to go anywhere he wants at the end of the year. I'm not positive on that, but that's one of the reasons why they accept him, because he could be just a rental.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll talk about rentals, but that's a pretty damn good rental,
Well,
especially when you have the need for that type of player.
let's
Uh,
let's let's put it this way: Bertuzzi's what you call great bench strength for the Boston Bruins.
yeah, yeah,
One guy goes down, another guy steps up.
yeah. And I tell you what, I think you're going to be hard pressed to keep him out of the lineup. To be honest,
Well, I agree.
um, he's I think he's got what's this, his fourth year?
Something like that.
I think he's got 2 20-goal seasons. I think he's got he can chip in, but here's the thing: he not only can chip in that goal like more like a power forward type goals. He stands in the crease. He makes good passes. He's got good hockey sense. He's not afraid to mix it up. He's going to win puck battles. He's a board battle kind of guy. That's a great move for the Boston Bruins, and they just got that much better.
Yeah, and
Um,
Orlov. Think about Orlov. He's putting up points galore already with Boston right now,
yeah,
and he's got a little nasty streak in him as well. He
yeah,
likes to hit once in a while. So the Bruins loaded up, and they probably overall, I think they probably did the best job at reinforcing their team heading into the playoffs. Not that they really needed to, but they did.
yeah. Yeah. The other guy that got moved at the deadline, uh, uh, we were talking about before. God, why is his name skipping me from me now? Greenway. What's his
Jordan Greenway from Minnie to Buffalo. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Buffalo picks up a guy. That's another guy. Talk about somebody who can play some minutes. Talk about a guy who's going to win you puck battles. Talk about a guy who's not afraid of the tough stuff and the scrums. Just talk about addressing toughness and forechecking and scrapping and the whole 9 yards. There's another player got moved. Don't think they had to give up a whole hell of a lot for him, Kotz.
I don't know. I don't remember what they gave up for him, but I agree with you. I mean, Buffalo's an up and coming, uprising team with Tage Thompson becoming absolutely one of the studs in the league right now, and he's, it's kind of unfortunate, but 14. But you really don't need him leading the way. So you need other guys who do all the other physical work and let this guy score goals. I think he's over 40 goals this year, Paulie. So It's a good move. It's a good move by Buffalo. Buffalo's not out of the playoffs. There's a whole lot of teams right there on the cusp.
Yeah.
Buffalo's one of them.
Yeah.
One of us another. Because, there's like 6 teams that are battling for that 7th and 8th spot right now. Buffalo and Ottawa, are one of them. And Ottawa, we'll get to Ottawa in a second, boy. I got things to say about them.
Well, there's a couple things I do want to say, but we will talk about Ottawa, and we'll talk about some of those other teams that are getting there or getting close. Ottawa's on the door here now, um, and Cots, we talked about the physical element to that team and that game and who they are, and more and more, that's 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 playoff type hockey, man. When you're physical and you're winning board battles, anything is possible. You could be down to goal or two goals, and you keep grinding teams down, grinding teams down. You're going to force them into turnovers, and if you take those turnovers and turn them into put them in the back of the net, things change. So that's one of those teams. It's very physical. That Kachuk's kid is just. I know he's got two of them, but oh my god, man.
Tell you what, he's a guy you'd want to lead your team. I don't care. He's probably one of the top guys in the league right now that I would want if I was starting a team. Because not only is he has great ability to put up great offense, he seems to be the kind of guy that his players follow, and he's a tough prick up, Paulie. He's not. He's no flower out there. He's out there, and he's like a cactus, basically, and rubbing everybody the wrong way. He'll drop the mitts and everything else. But here's what I noticed about that team, though, Paul, that I want to get everybody to listen to. Over the last probably 10 to 15 years, what I've noticed in the National Hockey League is a lot of the players will skate as hard as they can to go challenge the guy with the puck. The guy releases the puck, and they'll turn away. Well, Ottawa doesn't. They proved that to me the night they played the Rangers. From their first line guys to their fourth line guys, when there was an opportunity to give a hit, they did not turn away. I'm not talking about bone crunching hits all the time, but that kind of play, like you said, will wear your ass down. And that's what they did to the Rangers that night. And they're probably the only team in the league that I've seen so far this year where they all went and finished the check. When I grew up, and the Messiers grew up, and all these guys grew up in hockey, we were always told to finish your check. Well, they haven't been finishing their check in the NHL for 10 or 15 years now. But the Ottawa Senators play old school hockey, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed watching it, even though it was against the Rangers. I enjoyed watching this team that's full of I'll use an Emile Francis, even though Emile and I weren't great friends, slogan. They're full of piss and vinegar.
Yeah. That's what you need to win hockey games, especially when it comes to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Especially when it's a game that matters, where there's 2 points that matter. You win this game and you're climbing back in it. When it absolutely matters, you got to have piss and vinegar. And you got to be able to grind out games, man. You're not going to win games pretty all the time. And I'm going to stay away from it right now because I'm letting the Jets just fire up here. Jets are warming up, baby, because I'm coming, and I'm coming hard, boy. Coming hard. So we'll move on from Ottawa, which was very impressive.
And they also picked up Chikrin. Remember that, too.
Yeah.
A guy that's been talked about for about a year and a half.
Yep.
They made the move, and they got him.
Yep. Coming off, I think he's coming off injury, but another solid player who can grind it out. But Tkachuk reminds me of the old style power forward. He's that guy. First of all, he's big, man. He was 230, I think. You're not really 225, 230. You're not going to move him from the front of the net. He's got good hands there. He just reminds me of the old style, power forward guy where, he goes to the dirty areas. He goes to the front of the net. He'll deflect pucks. I think most of his pucks are deflected or, taps or whatever, but he goes in those ugly areas and he wins battles.
Oh, he's a great guy to start
A franchise.
A franchise with that. There's no question about that. And Ottawa's got a good guy there. Just for Ottawa's sake, let's hope they can keep him there because you know how it goes these days, Paulie. When you're a free agent and you're not really a homeboy, you'll bolt to where you want to go instead of staying where you should stay.
Yep. And then I know you're not a fan, but even Tampa went out and got Jeanette.
Jeannot.
Jeanette. They went out and got tougher. Again, not somebody they really need. They got a scrapper in what's his name? Maroon, Pat Maroon. You talked about what a big pickup Paul was for them. Another guy who could just stand, Nick Paul, who could just stand in front, win some puck battles. A big, strong man can kind of do what he's got to do to maintain possession and to get in the dirty areas. Again, another team in the East went, like you said, got a little bit tougher, a little bit beefier, just a little bit more ugly. And if they had ugly, like you said with Boston, they have backup ugly, grinders, things like that.
Well, that moves is all about Boston. The Jeannot move is all about the Boston Bruins.
I'm sure.
Because Tampa gave a shitload away for him. I don't care what you tell me. They gave really too. I like Jeannot, but that's just what they gave up was way too much. But they also see their window closing with their stars.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So they're loading up a little bit more physicality to be able to take on the Bruins by adding Jeannot and already having Nick Paul and already having Maroon, guys that are going to get in the dirty spots on the ice and do that kind of damage. But that's all that move's about. It's not about right now. Tampa's struggling. You and I may disagree, but I've been following them a little bit. They're kind of sucking right now. So
they're sucking right now, but I wouldn't count them out.
You and I love to go over this one. I don't think they're going to be the team this year, but
no, I don't think
that move was all about the Boston Bruins. It wasn't about any other team in the East. That move was about them to prepare themselves if they have to play the Boston Bruins.
Well, that just opened the door for me. So here I go. I'm going to walk through that motherfucker right now. So that's a great example of what you just said. That move was geared towards the Boston Bruins. Why? Because the team has a need. So if the team has a need, as a general manager, we think about how we can fill the need so we can be competitive against certain teams in the league or in certain circumstances. So to think logically, what a great idea. The Boston Bruins are the icon right now that everyone is chasing in the National Hockey League. Well, there's a great chance in the East that you're going to meet the Boston Bruins. So how do we address this problem? Well, we don't. We get caught up in the fucking spotlight trade once again as the New York Rangers continue their legacy of getting fucking stars that have no business on the team anymore because the ship is fucking sailed already, for one. Patrick Kane is a great player, and it's a great idea, guys. But there's so many fucking things that the New York Rangers needed. When you went out and got Tarasenko, you had enough offense. The Euro New York Rangers, I'm sorry, New York Ranger fans, get ready for a big letdown. The 80-foot fucking pass between Kane and Panarin is going to cause more turnovers than it is going to be pucks in the back of the net, for one. For two, have you watched the New York Rangers lately? They have nobody to go get the puck anymore. So if they ain't carrying it in, they're screwed. Start clogging the neutral zone on them and make them dump the puck. Let's see what happens. They don't have too many players that are going to go find the puck against the Boston Bruins, Tampa, or really anybody else. So what did we do? What did Chris Drury do? He got caught up in the spotlight trade to go find a marquee player who's won a couple of Stanley Cups, with 3 Stanley Cups in his life, that is coming towards the end of his career. It wasn't the right move. I'm sorry. Could have went out and got Greenway. You could have went out and got Tyler Patuzzi. You could have went out and got bigger, stronger, and uglier up front, because that's what you need. You don't need any more offense. You have some of the most offensive players in the game. You got Zibanejad. You got Kreider that scores. You got Panarin. You got Fox. What are we doing? Then you got the kid line that everybody wants to keep together, and everybody wants to keep all these players. So don't move anybody. Don't do anything that helps the fucking team get bigger and stronger and uglier in the playoffs. Let's just make the New York Euro Rangers once again. Now, I'll take a fucking breath.
Well, you're not wrong. You know, I can't disagree with anything you said. I've been saying it all along. This team needs to find the guys that get into the dirty spots and win the puck battles and the board battles and the front of the net battles. Now, everything you said is true. I mean, they added a lot of skill. We can't deny that. And, we're still, as Ranger people, are going to hope that it works out. And they might have to try and win games, with high scores, in the playoffs.
6-5 game.
Well, the Edmonton Oilers did it for a long time in the 80s, trust me.
Yeah, I know.
I was there. I know. I was on the end of a few of those games. I guess the way I'm going to leave this after agreeing with you is that, okay, I'm looking at the roster as it is right now. I would like to see Will Cooley come up. I want him to play because he likes to mix it up and he'll play tough. Now, this is the part that you and I have been harping on for a long time. Keandre Miller, you served your suspension. It was a dumb thing that you did, regardless if you have an excuse for it or not. It wasn't smart. You served your suspension. You'll be back in the next game. Keandre Miller, Mikola, Jacob Trouba, we have no problem about because Jacob Trouba will play physical, and he does play physical. Braden Schneider, you got to pick your game up physically. I'm sorry, you've tailed off in that department. Keandre Miller, with your height and your size, you got to get meaner and you got to get tougher. And Mikola, as good as he's played pretty decent, but he's got to be a better force physically around the net and along the boards. Now up front, I think what they're going to rely on is obviously Goudreau and VC to be those guys that check hard. The missing link of it all is Chris Kreider. One of the strongest pound-for-pound guys in the league needs to get back to where he was a force when it comes to physical combat along the boards behind the net. He has to get back to that because these are the only guys that are capable, Paulie. I'm not stating anything that's not known here. You're not going to tell me you're going to ask Panarin to be going to the forecheck and hit that guy. That's his game.
It's not happening.
You're going to ask Patrick Kane to do that. You're not going to ask Filipino to do that, even though he's a big guy, which kind of makes me sick sometimes. He should be able to do that. But you can't ask the rest of those guys to be that kind of player because they're not. So, with what you said and what I say, this is the way it's going to be. The guys I mentioned are going to have to take the load on that physicality part. When shit happens out there, they have to take control and lead in that department. If somebody runs Kane, then Keandre Miller, you run their guy. If somebody runs Panarin, Braden Schneider, you run their guy. This is how it's done.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. They could have addressed a little bit more physicality up front. Make that fourth line into a fourth line like the Ottawa Senators had the other night. That fourth line from the Ottawa Senators, they hit everything in sight. And they were on the ice on a regular shift, Paulie. It's not like they sat the bench the whole game and got their 2 shifts a period.
Right.
They were out there doing a thing. They were doing that for a reason. So their first, second, third lines can have a little more room out there, a little more space.
Yeah.
But I can't argue with what you said. Chris Drury's done, I think, overall a pretty good job as a general manager, Paul. I mean, he's brought in basically what he's supposed to bring in. But in this instance, I think he might have failed a little bit about bringing in somebody big and physical that they really needed to support your skilled guys.
Right. Well, and that's my point. I mean, they went out and got Tarasenko, which I liked. I did like, and I liked Nikola. I thought it was a good deal for what they did. Okay. So moving from there, I agree with you. For the most part, I think Drury's done a pretty bang up job. Except for I still don't understand how you go out and you get Ryan Reeves for a reason, and then you trade him away and you never replaced him. So I still am very concerned with that because we remember, Panarin being ragdoll by
Tom
Wilson. And then, we go out and get the toughest guy in the game, and then we trade him away. And we don't even put anybody in that. We don't get anybody for that. And then you go out, okay, I understand you want to add a little more. You want to add a little more skill to the team to help Panarin and Zibanejad move along. So you go out and you get Tarasenko. Great move. I think he really fits the club. But now, for some reason, you get caught up in this spotlight trade for Kane. And you fucking mortgage everything. And I'm not talking about picks, even though you gave up some pretty high-level picks. But more importantly, nobody can play. You're chasing up against this cap. You got 3 games you've played nothing but shorthanded. I mean, one game they played with 4 defensemen. You get somebody hurt, you can't replace them. So we do all of these things. We never address the serious problem that this team has. It's team toughness. But aside from that, not only team toughness, going into the playoffs, you have zero grit, zero sandpaper. Kotze, I agree with you. Goodrow and VC can do a little bit of that work, but they're not big men. They're not going to make a difference there. And VC's game, I like VC. I think he's a very versatile tool like Goodrow is. But at the end of the day, that's just not enough. And then you talk about Cooley. The only thing now is like you said to me, who's the odd man out? They went out and got Tyler Mott. I mean, if anything, he's the only guy who's going to grind it out.
Yeah, but every team has somebody that sits out, Paulie. Every team does.
I get it.
And if you have, it's called situational play. You know what I mean? When you're playing a team that likes to freewheel and skate up and down the ice without any body contact, then you can play that kind of a lineup too.
Sure.
But when you need to play a team where there's going to be a little shit going on, you got to have to put a guy in, insert a guy in that's going to be able to take that kind of stuff, right, and protect. And if he has to step up and play and protect somebody, okay. Now, the other thing we don't know for sure, and I'm just trying to I'm hypothetical here. What was the salary cap situation after they got the Kane? Remember, Kane was picked up well before the trade deadline. Okay. And what was the situation, Paulie? Who knows? What was Greenway's cap? You know what I mean? What was Schen's cap? What were these cap numbers? Because that cap thing, I'm still telling you, is just a pile of shit that the NHL put on teams in the league to make the top teams that make the most money suffer in situations like this. I don't care what anybody says. It's ridiculous. I'm going to go off on this, and that's my turn. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous for me as a fan. They're going to lay out $1,000 worth of tickets for my family to go to a game and find out that my favorite team is playing with 2 less players because the NHL says so. And the cap says so. That's bullshit.
Agreed.
Plain and simple. I don't care who's right or who's wrong. Whether it's the NHL is right or wrong, or the the management's wrong for not figuring out their cap space. Get rid of the fucking cap, you fucking morons. Sick of it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because a couple of weeks ago you brought it up. Edmonton had to play, shorthanded,
And look what happened to the Rangers the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. I know. I get it. It's just it's bad management on the team side, but it's bad management on the league side. There's got to be, some kind of cushion or something there. Like you said, you can't expect your teams to play with two, sometimes three less players. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Well,
Man.
let me ask you a question: is Gary Bettman and the owners are they doing this for free?
Right?
You know what I mean? Like they're not doing this for free. It's a business. They all get a salary. They all make money off of it.
Yep.
So if you're in a business, why not let the business work to its maximum power?
Yeah. Kotz, why do you think, we talk about players that just never really or develop really late. I know one of your guys is, Philip Hedl. I mean, you could say that about, a couple other guys, but why is it someone like Chris Kreider has been around as long as he has? And we've talked about this for years, other than last year with his 50-goal season. It always seems like Chris Kreider just doesn't put it all together. His mental part, it just doesn't seem like he puts it all together. He doesn't understand the role that he can or should be playing. Is it me? Is it what is it, Cox?
Well, you got to remember now, Chris Kreider's not a young kid anymore. He's played a long time now for the New York Rangers.
Right.
You have to remember that part. Give him the benefit of the doubt on that department. What he did last year was far and above whatever I ever expected from him. Okay.
Exactly.
I never had him penciled in as a 40, 50 goal scorer, although I said he would probably score 40 if he just stayed in front of the net many times, I'm half in and half out with him to blame him. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's healthy, Paulie, be honest with you. I don't know. Is he playing hurt or is all the miles caught up with him? I don't know. Because there's times where he looks like he's really into it and doing stuff, and then there's times where he's just unnoticeable, which is very, it's hard to go unnoticed in a National Hockey League game, okay? Especially when you're one of the top two lines.
Yeah.
I still go back, and I know many people won't remember this, but you remember because I keep repeating it to you. There was a game, and I think it was his second, third, maybe his fourth year. I can't remember what it was. Early in his career, where he nailed a Washington Capital defenseman, and the guy flew through the air until he hit the boards, like somebody threw an egg at the board, and the guy just slid down the board, and Kreider got a 5-minute major for that. And it was as clean a hit as you can have, but because of the chalk line of the dead player on the ice, Kreider got the 5-minute penalty.
Right.
And I believe since that time, his full force when it comes to going into a man has put the brakes on just a little bit because he doesn't want to spend 5 minutes in the penalty box, doesn't want to take penalties like that. But I think in return, if that's the truth, it's taken away from his game too. You know what I mean? Like he's not that big, fierce, ferocious guy in the corners anymore like he used to be. It's really hard. It's really hard to criticize a guy like him, Paul, because he still scores 20 goals plus every year. Something Hedl hasn't. You don't have to throw that in there. It's hard, but he's also 30. I think he's 31, 32 years old now. Chris Kreider.
Yeah.
Am I right, guys? Come on, somebody out there, Richard, Matt.
Look, Kotz,
I don't know, Paulie. It just seems like sometimes he's playing a little bit hurt. He might be hurt and playing hurt. Not 100%. Not enough to keep you out of the lineup, but not enough to, put you on the side. I don't know for sure. I don't know.
I think he's just put his physical element away. Here's my personal opinion. I think Chris Kreider is thinking he's a different type of player now, and not understanding what's needed of him.
I think I just went through. You're right.
He's got a great physical attribute. The man's strong as a horse, man.
If your team didn't go out and address what all us so-called armchair, what I don't want to say quarterback hockey pucks are, then you must figure it out as a team yourself. Who is capable? It's like I told you earlier. What players are capable of being this guy, Paulie? Chris Kreider's one of them. Yeah. He's probably one of the only ones up front that can be a real force when it comes to like never losing a battle because he's that strong.
But he doesn't.
Goodrow and VC, they'll lose battles because they're just not as strong as Chris Kreider.
Right, they're not as big, they're not as strong.
It's the same thing on the D side. I'm looking for this stuff from the D men now. These guys got to step up. I mean, regardless of what Chris Drury did or didn't do to address the physicality department, this is your team. This is the guys you stare at. These are the guys you're going to look at in the dressing room. These are the guys you're sitting next to. You guys they have to figure it out themselves, okay? And somebody somewhere has to get it through to the guys that are physically capable of being that kind of player. You can't ask Adam Fox to go into the corner first because he'll never do that. Trust me. I've watched him enough. That's not his game. Lindgren will go in first, but Lindgren, unfortunately, has the biggest heart, the biggest soul, as big as Madison Square Garden, but he's not the biggest guy in the world. So who's next? Oh, a 6'4" guy, another 6'4" guy, another 6'2" guy, and another 6'3" guy. Trouba, Schneider, Mikkola, and Keandre Miller. When you look at their size and their weights, they're capable of doing this, playing this kind of hockey. They're capable of it. Are they doing it? That's the question.
Aside from Trouba.
Well, Trouba's always engaged.
Oh, yeah.
Always engaged.
Yep.
But so now you look at your roster. Who's capable of doing this? Philip Hedl. Listen, Philip Hedl has improved a lot this year. I'm not gonna deny, that you were semi-right. I'm not gonna tell you were right 100% because he's kind of taken a shit the last few weeks. But anyhow, he's 6'3", 215 pounds, Paulie. Why doesn't he run somebody through the boards?
Kreider's 31. I don't know, man.
You know what I'm saying? You got to take it upon yourself. Here's the really outlier of it all. I'm going to say something here that's going to either stir up the pot. Why is anybody afraid to get their heads kicked in today? Seriously. Back in my day, you were fucking afraid. You were afraid because you had Bobby Proberts running around the ice. You had Joey Koshers. You had Marty McSorley's. You had a real fear in your head that these guys could end your career.
Right.
There's no fear of that shit today. Who's gonna grab you and beat you up to the point like those guys would have back in the day? Seriously. Mm-hmm. That's why guys like Matt Zuccarello gets away with what he does. He's not afraid to get killed. So why would you be afraid as a player now to go into the corner with somebody? What's the worst going to happen to you? You get hit, you get punched, guy gets a penalty, you go to the bench, you're on a power play. I don't know. I'm just bringing it up. There's no reason to fear anything today. There's nobody trembling in the dressing room anymore going into Philadelphia like the old days, or going into Boston like the old days, or going into Detroit, Rock City. There's not, or you know what I mean? There's none of that crap anymore. There's nothing to fear. So I don't get it. I don't get why you as a player that even though it's not part of your game are afraid to take the body on somebody.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Just telling you.
This team has a big problem, and I hate to tell
Yeah, they've
Rangers.
lost 8 out of their last 10 games, Paulie.
I tell you right now, guys, I hate to tell you this, but I got a feeling a lot of y'all are going to be very disappointed.
Well, let's hope not.
Very disappointed.
Let's hope.
I
Let's hope that the Kane and Panarin thing works itself out. I know it's only been a couple games. They haven't had really time to practice. They kind of threw him into the fire. Let's hope that works out. And I'll say I'll go as far as say this: the last few games, the number one power play is kind of El Stinko, and the number two power play looked better. So if that's the case, start switching them back and forth again. You know what I mean? Until the so-called number one power play gets back to normal. Put Tarasenko with Lafreniere and Hedel or whoever out there, whatever Trocheck. I don't know anybody.
agree.
You know what I mean? Get them going. Bring Condry Miller. Put him back on the point with Trouba on the power play. You know what I mean? They were better the last two games at creating offense on the power play than the first stringers were.
I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you too. I think that I think the Rangers will be better fed right now to not play Panarin and Kane on the same line. Not now.
Yeah, you could be right. You could be right. I'm sure that process will work itself out. They've still got 19 games left, 18 games left, Paulie. There's a lot of time left for this team to gel with what they have, okay? We know there's going to be a problem when it comes to the physicality part once the playoffs start.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, this team is going to have to figure out the fucking power play immediately because we talked about this and you hit the nail on the head. I don't know if you mentioned it during the show, but I know we spoke about it before. This team is going to win a lot of 1-0, 2-1 games, pal. I'll tell you that right now. They're way too freewheeling, way too European style. They better hone in on opportunities and start burying the puck on the power play because I think that's going to make or break this team going in and staying in the playoffs.
Well, you're right. How do you stop a team from being physical with you?
Be on the power play.
Exactly. Make them pay.
Exactly.
If you don't make them pay, they're just going to continue to take liberties with you because they'll say to themselves, you know what, we'll kill the penalty. It's not a problem.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Make them pay. Every time they're in the box, you're getting goal scorers, you're scoring goals, you're getting fantastic opportunities, getting big looks, you're making game-changing plays. The bottom line is, I'm going to tell you right now, like we said before, this team is not going to win 2-1 games. And if the power play doesn't get moving heavily and becomes one of the most feared tools that they have in their tool belt, this team's going to be a quick out in the playoffs. I promise you that.
Well, the power play should be one of the most feared in the league.
It should be with all the power
right now because when you talk about Adam Fox, I mean, I have my problems with him on the defensive side, but when he's got the puck, he's as good as there is in the league. Okay, I will give him that for sure. He's as good a player with the puck as there is in the league. Okay, Zibanejad is still, I think, the key to the team, regardless of who they picked up and didn't pick up. Panarin, Kane, Tarasenko, your guy Hedel,
Kreider.
You got Kreider. I mean, they should be one of the most devastating power plays in the league.
They need to be, Chris. They need to be.
Well, they should be.
And that's one of the reasons why they've been sucking.
The players are there.
One of the reasons why they've been sucking lately is because they haven't been good on the power play.
Well, yeah, the 5-minute penalty against Ottawa the other night. They did nothing on it, remember?
You got to fucking bury that, man. Oh. You got to bury those chances because otherwise these teams are going to eat you up. They're going to eat you up. If you don't take big leads and start taking care of the power play, this team's going to be short out in the playoffs. I promise you.
Well, somebody's got to me that when you run into power play problems like every team does, where they go good, they go bad, they get into a slump. Somebody's got to get selfish. I've been telling you this for years. Why are you passing the puck up when you're 20 feet from the net?
Shoot it.
Fuck you. I'm not passing it to you. I'm shooting that fucking thing. I could care less if you're Wayne Gretzky or fucking Gordie Howe. I got a chance to score from 20 feet and I'm passing it? You're out of your fucking mind. Too much passing, Paulie. That's the problem. You said it kind of the best early. Too much Euro shit when it comes to that stuff.
Oh, my God.
The puck.
And that's the other reason why I really hope Gallant breaks those two guys up. We'll see what they are with practice-wise. But Panarin just all he does is look for Kane now.
I know. And
it's like telegraphing a pass. Hey, I'm going to pass it to Patrick Kane now. See if you can interrupt it. It's really ridiculous.
As great as Panarin can look with some of his passing, he could look just as equally as bad.
Yep.
With some of his passing. There's no question about that.
Yep. I don't disagree. So I think there's going to need to be some moderation there during the games. But if this, like I said, man, I'm telling you right now, if this team is not going to win, close battle games, and they're going to have to pick up the power play and become the best power play in the league if they want to win. I'm just going to state that point because Kotze made a great point. How do you keep teams from being overly physical with you, especially when they know they can fucking eat you up and ragdoll you all day long because they can? The only way to do that is to keep putting them in a box and keep taking advantage of that, and then you're gonna be, okay, well, maybe I got to come back a little bit. Maybe I can't finish this check. Maybe I got to do this. Maybe I should do that and get them thinking again. But until you do that, no, it's not.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty simple hockey, Paulie. If you're going to take penalties and they score when you like, if I took a penalty and they score while I'm sitting in the box, I'm going to think twice about how hard I played the next guy. But if I play hard and get a stupid penalty and you don't score, what's going to stop me from doing it again?
Right.
Nothing. I didn't get penalized for it technically, even though I served 2 minutes.
Yep. And that was the key to that Ottawa game. Very much so.
Absolutely.
The Rangers did not capitalize when they needed to on the power play, and they had plenty of opportunities.
And Talbot and the ex-Ranger Talbot kind of stiffed them too.
That bit him right in the ass, man.
I like Talbot.
So did I. I liked him too. But I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you, Ranger fans. I'm very disappointed with management on this. I think chasing the spotlight trade with Patrick Kane, and you can agree with me or disagree with me. I'm so done with the excuses. The bottom line is I don't believe management addressed the problem that the Rangers have, and it starts all the way back with getting rid of Ryan Reeves to begin with.
I can't. Listen, I can't. I told you this before, okay? And I knew this for a fact that Ryan Reeves has sat out a ton of games before he got traded, and I think because of what Ryan Reeves had brought to the team, everybody liked him. The players liked him. The team liked him. The fans liked him. The GM liked him. The coaches liked him. They went to him and asked him what he wanted to do. In other words, you're not going to play very much the rest of the year. Or would you like to be traded? And that's what I think happened there, Paulie. Unfortunate, but that's what happens when sometimes you're too nice a guy. That they'll do you a favor because it's very rare. It's very rare, trust me. That's what happened there. I think he wanted to get traded because he wanted to play. And he wasn't, for some reason, he wasn't going to play with the Rangers on a regular shift anymore.
Yeah. Well,
whether it's right or wrong is neither here or there now.
Yeah, here they lie, and we'll see what happens because I'm going to tell you right now, I am not impressed. And I don't care. They got 3 games coming up that should be wins, if we're being honest, especially with the skill level now that they have. But I'm not gonna jump on the wagon. Oh yeah, well, we're gonna win. I want to win a Stanley Cup. I want this team to win a cup, and I'm gonna tell you right now, this fucking lineup doesn't win a Stanley Cup. I hope that I'm wrong, and I hope you all tell me, you can eat your words and you can play this back to me. But I don't know, man. there's just something in me that says, once again, this team is not going to win a Stanley Cup because this isn't the lineup that's going to win you a Stanley Cup. Unless everything aligns and they become the most insane offensive juggernaut the world has ever seen, okay? I mean, look at Edmonton. Look at McDavid. The guy is God on skates, really. I mean, he's probably the greatest player I've ever watched with the puck, to be honest with you.
McKinnon said it.
And they'll lose 6-5 games all the time.
Colorado's McKinnon came out and said it during the All-Star break that he is by far
the greatest
way
player
above anybody else in the world right now.
And honestly, I mean, no disrespect to some of the greats that's ever played the game, but this kid is just, I'm sorry, but he's a prodigy. But my point is this. At the end of the day, you still need ugly. You still need people in front of the net. You still need to do the ugly stuff. You still need to dump the puck in the playoffs. The playoffs is a different animal than the regular season. Teams tighten up. Defensively become smarter. They do the chip and chase. They play that game. This team is not a chip and chase team. You're not going to win puck battles. Panarin's not going to win you a million puck battles in the corner. Kane isn't.
Listen, you're preaching to the wrong guy. I get it.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
I get it because again, I'm going to bring the Tampa story. I bring this up all the time, not just to you, to everybody. They didn't win shit until they added those two guys. Period. They didn't. All the skill in the world didn't win them nothing. And I'm gonna further my point about that. You obviously need skill. We know that. You need skill.
Of course.
When you don't have exactly what you just described in your last rant, when you don't have that, then you realize it. But when you have that, you don't really credit it either.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you don't have that in your lineup, everybody complains about it. But when it's in your lineup, it's kind of like, it's okay. We're good now. It's okay. We'll worry about the skill. The skill cannot survive on its own. Edmonton did one good thing. I'll give them credit. They picked up Ekholm. Good, big, strong defensive defenseman. Whether that gets them over the hump, I don't know. But it goes unnoticed all the time. It goes unnoticed. When those guys that do the dirty work in the playoffs, it goes unnoticed because one guy will have 17 goals, another guy will have 31 points in the playoffs and all that. And those are the guys that get all the fanfare and all the glory. But all those guys that did all the dirt work, the mud work, that had to chip away and grind and battle and, run the defense, battle the goaltender, get in his space, all those things combined are just as big as your skilled player is in the playoffs. They're just as big. Yep. But it goes unnoticed. It goes unnoticed, unfortunately. But not to me, because this is how I watch the game. I realize that, this is why this guy scores, is because this guy set up the play earlier by letting that defenseman know you touch him, you die. You know what I mean? That's how I watch the game, Paul. How a player plays against this certain guy compared to the next shift guy, to the next shift guy, to the next shift guy. And if there's a little alteration in how they play, now we've got something here. If I'm the opposing team, I know how to play this guy now. And that's the way I watch hockey. I don't watch hockey like everybody else. I don't follow the puck all the time, man. I like to see what's going on behind the play when I'm there live. I watch that shit all the time. But that's just me. I guess that's the way it was when I played, growing up.
So I know, when everybody watches this later on, I'm going to get a lot of text messages and emails from not the constants that sit on this board and, contribute to our program. Guys like Matt and Rich, and Barry.
Yeah.
And, I'm talking about the other fans that are like, why are you always so down on the Rangers? Listen, it's because I love them so much. It's because I have such a burning passion for this franchise to win and to become one of those franchises. And, you know, you're on the borderline of a lot of guys that are going to start getting older. And I don't know, man. I just feel like if I can sit here in this chair and say, what does this team need? And have a pretty good common knowledge of what this team needs. I love getting Tarasenko. And don't get me wrong, adding Kane is a great thing if you had the other elements. But you used all of this cap space and all the things that you used to get Kane. You're playing fucking shorthanded because you went out and you got Kane, okay? But we didn't address a problem. You got no grind in your game. You have nobody who wins puck battles. And the one guy that we talk about a lot, Chris Kreider, doesn't play that game anymore. Or hasn't played that game in a while. He shows you a little bit here, a little bit there, but there's nobody pounding defensemen. There's nobody out there, man. And it just, if I can see it, I don't understand how we're worried about the spotlight trade as management who gets paid to work this team and look at. I get paid money to look at my team at work and say, what elements do I need to do a better job? What tools are my guys lacking to get the best production out of them? You can't fix cars if you don't have a fucking lift, right? Yeah. You could have every tool in the world.
But you have no restrictions on cost. There's the difference.
But my point is this, Kotz. My point is this. Kane, he's a wonderful player. It's a spotlight thing. But we went and got Tarasenko. If you didn't get Tarasenko, you got Kane, and you had some movement, and you had a little bit of room, and you knew, okay, I got Tarasenko, but I still have to get somebody in there who could play in the top 3 lines, maybe, somebody who can grind it out a little bit and make a little bit of a difference, make a noise, take the body. Didn't address the problem. I'm sorry.
Paulie, listen, you're not wrong, but all this stuff's going to work, work itself out one way or the other. You're either going to be 110% correct or it's not. One of the two. You still got to remember, my biggest beef with the whole thing is not just the fact that they didn't address that, is the cap situation. Okay, they didn't lose a lot to get Kane. I don't care what you tell me. I see all the numbers. They didn't give up enough. They didn't give up a lot to get him. And Arizona's eating 50% of the money too. So that's how they fit him in under the cap. Okay. But trying to get all this, you're not going to get a Tanner Jeannot for dirt. Okay. Look what Tampa gave up to get him. You're not going to get, Michael, I think, came up with it tonight too. They gave up a 2nd and a 5th round draft choice for Jordan Greenway. Be honest with you, I wouldn't do that. Why would I give up a 2nd round choice for him? He's been in the league already for 7-8 years. I'm not gonna give up a 2nd and a 5th, maybe one or the other. Yeah, no. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just not gonna do that. They've already pilfered their bank account when it comes to draft choices in the next couple of years. You understand what I'm saying? So it's the cap situation. The cap situation is the reason why. Yes, you can improve your company that you work for because guess what? You go to your boss and I need more money to buy this. I need more money to buy that. Chris Drury can't do that because there's a fucking cap in the National Hockey League. Yeah. This is you can't fucking buy. You better buy the store brand instead of the real brand.
I don't
That's the part that bothers me. That makes a big difference on how you deal with your trades and everything. Makes a big deal. Now, the other part that you're forgetting too is keeping Panarin happy. Well, this is how it goes. There's a pecking order in your roster. It always has been. Always will be.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't
I'm
think I
not
don't.
arguing that you're wrong. I'm just giving you the scenarios that Chris Drury has to look at.
I
He has to look
understand
at
that.
all these scenarios and go, "Holy fuck!"
I
You know,
understand that fully.
I don't think I don't think he addressed what he needed to when it comes to the physical side of it. But you know what? When it comes to the offensive side of which I didn't want, he's done a lot.
He's overweight.
Now it's up to these players to prove that it was worth it. Am I right or wrong on that? It's up to them
Yeah,
to prove it now.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
So at the end of it all, we'll find out. We'll find out whether it was the right move or not the right move, because they've loaded up on the offensive side of it. I know it's been a shitty 2 games, blah blah blah, but you got to give them a little bit of time. We'll see how it works out the next few weeks.
Yeah.
And then we'll be able to, then we'll be able to grill them a little bit more on our show.
I'm going to tell you right now. I really feel like I think the only way that this works is that power play becomes such a.
Well, it's going to have to. It's going to have to, because that's what you counted on here. That's what you did by bringing in all this offense. Okay, that's what you did. You brought in Tarasenko. Okay, you brought in Patrick Kane. Let's see, what are they known for? Offense.
Yep. You better light the lamp, baby.
What is Adam Fox known for? Offense.
Offense.
What's Panarin? Yep. Offense.
Yep.
What's Zibanejad? Offense. Although Zibanejad is probably the best two-way forward we have.
Oh yeah.
He might not hit a lot, but he defends.
Yeah, he's just. I tell you, he's
an awesome player, Paul. He's an awesome player.
He really is. He's an awesome hockey player, no doubt about it, man. But we'll have to see. Like you said, we'll see how this comes to fruition. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I think he could have done a better job.
Well,
we'll see.
Exactly. There's not much else we can do now. It's all in cement now. There's nothing else you can do other than bring up players from your farm club. And I still, regardless of what people say on the comments, I'd like to see Will Cooley come up. I'd like to see him come up and play every now and then. Give him some. It would
be nice.
Give him some time.
Is Kane a UFA at the end of the year though? I thought he was.
I believe he is. Yes.
So, he was a complete rental.
I think they both are. I think Tarasenko and Kane. I think. Not positive.
All right. Well, with that being said, I got nothing left. Looks like the Rangers play Wednesday night, Thursday night?
I think it's Thursday. They had 4 days off after the game. I think Gallant gave them 2 days off, period. And then they're going to get back to practice tomorrow and the next day and play Thursday.
No time off. Get to fucking work.
Yeah, I think they needed a little bit of time off, considering you were playing defense with 5 guys, Paulie, and all that shit.
Montreal.
Keandre Miller will be back. And listen, I'm not down on him. I just think this is his chance to step up and be a force physically for the team as well.
Yeah. So, Montreal, Buffalo is no easy task.
Oh, Buffalo! I don't even know. What's Buffalo doing tonight, score-wise? Because if they win tonight, they're 2 points out of a playoff spot.
And then Pittsburgh's not. They're not a lay down either.
No, I think they're in the 8th spot right now, Pittsburgh.
Let me see here. Sabres, it's 2-2 with the Oilers. That's probably a really fun game to watch, man.
But why would they televise that game when you got, Connor McDavid and Tage,
Yeah, well, why not put it on ESPN or Hulu like fucking another? So stupid, man. Just the NHL stupid.
Come on.
Stupid. Let's put them where nobody's watching them, because that's what we do as the National Hockey League. Let's see here. Yep.
Oh, and I'm going to put this in there too. One more thing, and you know how I love to do this. I will be laughing my big Greek ass off if the Washington Capitals don't make the playoffs.
Well, they don't make the playoffs, buddy. Let's see here. Standings real quick. Yeah. Capitals are way out. You know who surprised me? Well,
Devils, I'm telling you, Paulie, you underestimate them.
yeah, well.
You underestimate them.
Buffalo all the way down to the Capitals are all tied with 68.
Yeah, they all got 68 points. Them, Florida, Ottawa, everybody. There's 4 teams tied with 68, and I think Detroit's got 65.
Yeah, they're right there. Yep.
And then it's Pittsburgh.
That's another team that was physical with the Rangers and beat them badly, I might say.
Who's that?
Detroit kicked the Rangers' ass 2 weeks ago. Kicked their ass. I think they shut them out, didn't they?
No, they didn't shut them out.
No, they didn't shut them out, but they shut them out the whole game until.
You didn't watch the game anyways. Come on, who are you kidding? You were busy.
I did watch some of that game.
You were out on a date that night.
Yeah.
Or you should have been. How's that?
Shouldn't have been losing to Detroit at bottom line.
They shouldn't be, but Detroit's getting better too. I said that to you earlier in the year too.
Well,
they're getting better.
Yeah, so Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Montreal.
Oh, they're going to play Pittsburgh back to back, I think, soon.
Well, it would be
2 games at the Garden, back to back in this month.
Oh yeah, you're right. Thursday, Saturday.
Yeah.
So hold on. Oh wait, hold on. They play. Yeah, they play Montreal, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Washington, Pittsburgh.
Uh-huh.
So they're playing a couple of teams there, though.
All the teams they're playing are vying for a playoff spot.
Exactly.
Every one of them.
Those are going to be physical. They're going to be physical teams. They're gonna, We'll see. It's, and then after that, after Pittsburgh back to back, they hit Nashville, Carolina back to back, Florida, Columbus, New Jersey, and Buffalo. This is a real tough month, man.
First of all, outside of Nashville, the East is
a beast.
Just, it's like you better get your sword and your shield out right now.
Battles.
You're gonna have to fight to the last man because it's that loaded now. And the teams that are vying for the playoffs have improved so much in the last month or so.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're licking their chops right now trying to get into it.
Yep. All right. Well, I mean, I'm done.
Yeah, I think it was a good show. We went through it. You got a lot off your chest. I knew it was coming. I could kind of predict things with you, even without talking to you.
Fired up, man. Just fired up.
Listen, you got every reason to be fired up. There's nothing that you said that anybody could pick on. Okay, nothing. Now, there's also the possibility that it'll go the other way too. We have to understand that too. But
please let me be wrong.
I still think that if you're gonna lack in that department, then you know what? Somebody's gonna have to get bonked out of the lineup. You're gonna bring Cooley in. Bring him into the lineup. He'll take the body at least. You know what I mean? He'll take the body at least.
Does anybody have the update on Mott? I know. I think he had a concussion for sure.
I know a lot of people got all upset about that before we go, but I was talking to a former teammate of mine, and you'll know who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to name him. That was an everyday occurrence in our day.
Oh yeah.
You know, what do you want a 6'3" guy to do to a 5'10" guy? Bend his knees even more? You know what I mean? To get down to his level. I don't disagree, man.
You know
what I mean? What do you want him to do?
Yeah, I
What
don't.
do you want a guy that goes to hit a 5'0" guy do? Like glide in on his knee? I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I like
I
Mott
don't
as a
know what's
player,
going
but these guys got to know who's on the ice too. Again, that was another one. It's that Watson. Watson's known to be a bit of a shit disturber. Why would you not know that these guys are not on the ice? Paulie, I ask you, do you think the modern day players even think about this crap?
No, but why?
I don't get it.
That's what I don't understand. Messier said something. I had seen him. That was the other thing. Messier and Subban, and I saw a
Oh,
picture.
yeah, he gave it to Subban good.
Yeah, like
Subban's full of shit.
Yeah, I know. But Messier said that. I think he said it about Trouba too. I was watching at that point. He said, why is anybody surprised when Trouba's on the ice that those types of hits are going to occur? Don't you know who's on the ice? But why don't these guys get that in today's game? It's beyond me.
Because they're not used to it, Paul. They've been told since they were a kid now. That's not going to happen to you. And it doesn't happen to you when you grow up as a kid because there's no checking to a certain age.
Right.
And then there's no hitting from 3 feet from the boards. There's certain rules. You got to look this crap up one day. You really do. Look up the rules of the children that are playing the greatest game in the world, what they have to play by. And by the time they get to a teenage level where the game gets a little serious, and then even more when it gets to like college junior level, and then lo and behold, all of a sudden you're in the NHL and this shit's for real. Oh my God, I've never run into this problem before. What do I do? Mom, what do I do? Mom, Dad, what do I do? This is what happens.
Yeah, I know.
If you're not used to it, you're not going to know any better, Paulie.
Yeah. Hey, Barry, good to see you, buddy. We're glad to see you. I hope everything's good. Everyone, thanks for joining again tonight. Matt and Mikey, Michael, and everyone else.
Ryback had to throw his Montreal Canadian crap in there. He's a Canadians fan. Guy from Jersey and he's a Canadians fan. You figure it out.
Giving you a hard time. But we'll see these next. Yeah, I think this is a big month for the Rangers. A lot of teams.
Well, they better start winning a couple games just to keep that space between. They're 7 points ahead of the 8th spot right now. So,
well, I mean,
listen, just get in and then we'll see what happens.
The one thing I'm not worried about with the Rangers is Carolina or New Jersey. I don't know why.
I'm not worried about Tampa.
I know you said that. See, I'm more worried about Tampa and Boston than I am about.
I'm not worried about Tampa at all. Tampa ain't got it no more.
I think they're more physical than we are.
And I think Jersey's a lot better than you think.
Yeah, well.
Well, they proved it all year. Look, where are they in the standings with 20 games to go? Are they ahead of Tampa?
Yep.
Are they in first place?
Yep. We will see.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild and crazy last 15, 20 games to go.
Yeah. Well, they went out and got Timo Meyer too. The Rangers were talking about getting him, but
that would have been just what you're talking about, another offensive guy instead of getting Kane.
Well, instead of Kane and Tarasenko, they were talking
I'm just saying, it would have been just another offensive guy. That's all. So I don't know. Plus, you got to give that guy's starting contract next year to even qualify him is $10 million minimum.
I know it's qualifying. I know.
I can't believe the money these guys are getting today for scoring 30 goals, maybe 40.
Yeah. Well,
it is what it is.
All right, I'm out. Peace. Thanks, guys, for joining.
We will not miss next week. Okay.
Says that guy. Oh, that guy over there.
We're
Well,
not missing next week. And Beth,
we'll
if you were listening, get better.
get better. Next week, let's look at the schedule, by the way. Let's do that now and we'll make a decision. So, Thursday, this Saturday, Sunday. Wait a minute here. Okay. Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. So we could do Monday or Wednesday of next week.
Wednesday.
Wednesday? Okay.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. I'll see if I can pull off Wednesday.
Just ask the boss for more money. You got no cap.
Yeah. Let's see here. All right.
Aren't you going to say good night to your favorite guy, Biz, whatever?
No, I said I started the show. Well, I'll never say goodnight. I'll knock him out into goodnight.
I got my money on you.
I just don't know how anybody that ever wore a New York Ranger uniform even looks at that guy and doesn't tell him to go fuck himself.
They might be telling him that off the set, but on the set, it's because of the money, Paulie.
Well, with that being said, I'm out. We'll see you in a
Thanks for
week.
joining us, people. Till next week.
And, let's go Rangers.
What's that in here? Because you froze up. That's the first time you froze up.
I said, let's go Rangers.
Yeah, let's go. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens here.
All right. Good night, everyone.
It was the first time you froze up.